Hello and welcome. Today is Friday, first day of September 2017, and welcome. So let's talk about crypto trading and a comment on the screen, which was from the 2.5 minute warning this morning regarding markets going up so high and how to handle these markets turning down. And I'm suggesting that with the alts, maybe as well with Bitcoin as well. And for me, I just let the market do what it does. And quite frankly, I guess you can say I'm a little bit lazy. I'd rather not be over obsessed with going through chart after chart and just being obsessed with price after price. So I just let the order books do what they will, and I'll show you a few examples of them as we move in through these charts. So let's get started. First off, the daily Bitcoin chart in at about 4,900 US dollars, and it should only be a matter of time. 2% to go to reach the 5,000 US handle. Is it overextended? Yeah, a little bit. And I gotta think the key word is only a little bit, as it's only a little bit above this resistance level. I remember as a kid the story, and I'm sure most people have heard about it, the Three Little Bears. And this little the porridge is too hot or it's too cold. It's got to be just right. And you know what? I use the exact same sort of example here as far as the breakout. The breakout is just too small. Or the breakout is just too high. See, when the breakout is too small, that's oftentimes where I do not like selling, and if anything, I like buying a little bit because it's probably going to go up more. And when the market's up too high, that's just up so much, that's where I wouldn't want to be a buyer, and I want to be a seller more than anything. So it's broken this resistance. It's done it okay. It's got a little ways to go, and I even got to think, I see 52.50 in here, that I think it's going to at least have this leg up to this point. Keyword is I think. Let's also talk about this. This is my base currency. I know people are different. Maybe Ethereum is one's base. Maybe the US dollar is for others. So for me, I don't really get too concerned about the prices moving up and down. Generally speaking, as the prices go up in Bitcoin, I've seen before, at least back in this points in here, the alternate coins were going down, and the Bitcoin price was going higher. And then I've seen in these retracements so many times that I actually gain more Bitcoins because I'm able to gain better usually in the alternate coins when the markets go up. But I also don't sell too much to the United States dollar tether. And what I have hasn't really turned out to work the greatest overall, but I've barely done so at all. So any moves that go lower, let's just assume, and I do have a sell order coming in very soon on the US tether, that, okay, it goes up and then boom, it comes back down. And say I sell at 5,000, which is in the area of where it would be at, where I'd sell, and I buy back at here. As it was going lower, I didn't sell enough where it makes too much of a difference. It's just a small trade or a small percentage of my Bitcoins, because that is my basic base currency. I'm just trying to keep on increasing them as much as I can, and I've done a very good job of that so far. And I realize every single time that these price corrections go down, there's a darn near good chance it's going to bottom at some point and then go higher. So yeah, this is going to have to stop going higher and have a decent correction that's going to break through this 18 average of lows on the daily term time frame at some point. This thing could keep on supporting this level until it goes to 7,000 for all I know. And maybe it's topping soon. I can't state. Let's talk now about the alternate coins a little bit. And we'll start off with ETC, which I covered this morning on the 2.5 minute warning. And as I stated at the intro of this, just being lazy, just don't want to go over the charts, look at every time frame. Oh, this move just happened on the 1 minute. I don't want to do that kind of stuff. I really, really don't. And for me, one of the more easier methods is just buy when it goes down, which is what was the case in here, and sell on the way up. So I've had a few sell orders for ETC today, which means, oh, notification. Sell order hits 44. Okay, thanks for telling me, exchange site. I will now put a buy order in for, say, maybe 38. Something in that level there. I had a sell order in here, maybe. Or I would have. Okay, buy order 32. Lock her in. And I'll have a sell order somewhere here. I got 16 sell orders or so for ETC. But what I also do when I am preparing or planning for what my purpose for a buy is, because anytime you buy something, what's your plan with it? What's your strategy? Where are you selling it? What type of price? What type of situation of events are you looking for? And that's answers I think anyone going long has to answer. And for me, I'm looking for a significant break of a key level. There's a situation in which it had this 3 times hit level at around this 80 handle. It's had this significant correction, but this low is obviously on the more longer term look at it, it's going to be the higher low from in here, at least if this is where it's bottoming from. So I realize as far as market analysis is concerned, if I can go from point A, point L1 to point H down to point L2, and L2 of course is larger than L1, and let's just make this H1 as well, that my prediction for where H2 would be, well, this high is 90. I gotta think it's gonna probably at least double it, you would think, like 180, 200. So what this means is I want to make sure that I sell out of a decent amount within that level. And at what point can you say, you know what, I don't mind selling out? Because once something just keeps going higher and higher, you know it's going to have to pull back at some point. As we can see in here, no matter where you decided to say to yourself where it was up too much, you were able to buy it back cheaper. As if, say, you think, okay, here, it was up too much at 65. Okay, let's put a buy order back in for 50. And you can see you would have got your buy order hit back in here. So oftentimes, if you just take a wild stab of it, you're going to work out in the long-term time frame. And as far as I talk about the lazy, or just not laziness, but just easiness, really for the most part, set it and forget it as far as the orders are concerned. Let's talk about one that was doing really, really well before, and it's selling off now, which means I bought some of this today, and it is NEO. This was formerly known as ant shares back in the day, and I like the name ant shares better because I think ants are amazing, efficient, collective working animals. But as far as the chart analysis is concerned, this thing was just going way higher. So this is a spot in here where if you thought it was way up and you put a buy order somewhere lower, well, you lost on that one. So not every single time you think, oh, it's up too much, is it going to work? And then sometimes you can think, you know what, I want to make a play at this. I want to sell this all at 150 right in here, say, and buy her back at, say, 100. Huge gains I'm going to get as a day trader. And, well, you would have gained up to that point, but your gains would have stopped. And as we see, the market continues to go higher. Of course, if you would have set it, say, in here, you want to make that big chance where you want to sell it at 50, buy it back at 25, well, hey, that one won. So sometimes they win and sometimes they lose. That's gambling. But you know what? If you look at mathematical probabilities, especially if you're very good to be able to calculate them as best as possible, when the odds can go significantly in your favor for whatever reason that may be, then that's where you can start talking about becoming an advantage gambler, advantage player, as I would call it. Anyway, so if markets are up too much and you're waiting for things to settle and correct, well, there was your settling and correcting phase that occurred, and then another leg higher. So during this time frame, I had sell orders in here. And there was even times where I could buy back here, sell back here, but I did have a buy order place, and I'm putting my sell order in around here as the next one, and then you just have a bunch of different ones. If I'll buy again around here, if it keeps going lower, I'll buy here, and it's really a simple game. You don't even need to look at charts. You just need to know the numbers a little bit. Okay, so you buy at 60. You don't want to don't want to keep buying. You're going to have too much exposure and run out of Bitcoins. But if I buy a bit here, here, and here, I can afford to do that. And you know that markets have always done the same things. They go up for a bit, they go down for a bit, and then they'll go sideways here and there after an up or a down move. That's just what they do. And because they keep doing it, then that's why I like this strategy of just buying low, selling high, and just really taking all the emotions out of the game. So if I see markets go down and my portfolio for something is a bit lower, then you know what, so be it. I don't care. And if it goes up, yeah, that's great. But just throw the emotions out of the game and realize for myself it's a long-term play. Especially when you look at major exponential gains, it's really all about profit. What can you get your Bitcoin value? Is your Bitcoin number 30% higher from where it was because your trades are winning? Hopefully it's higher. Maybe it's 2 times, 100%, 5 times higher, 10 times, 20 times, 50 times. There are major profitability that's to be made on these tokens and within this trading. Well, whatever number it happens to be higher, I look at it myself. I've been in this for a little more than 6 months now. And the price action back at that time frame would have been, it was late February, so we're talking in at around this 1200 mark. So therefore, 4 times. So if say that's where you started and you've increased your portfolio, say double, well, in dollar terms, you've increased it 8 times. Because this to me, as far as going long here, selling here, all that type of stuff, it's an extension. It's pretty much the exact same thing as I always knew it before, which was doing it on like Amazon and Adobe and the SPY and the GLD and all those other traditional codes. And you would do that in dollar terms. But in dollars, you're talking about a fiat currency that inflates, and anything pretty much for the most part priced in it always goes up. So it's just easy. Just want to go long on it. Simple. But when I came into this market in late February, one of the first things I said to myself, this is not going to be like the stock market. You're talking about trading an asset class. Unlike the dollar, that's gaining in value, which makes it very hard. Imagine trading stocks in Google, priced in Google. So that means if Google goes up 1% that day and the stock goes up 0.5%, well, you kind of went down 0.5%, which is pretty much what it's like here. And it puts the extra challenge towards it, but it's an amazing feeling to realize that you can say, yep, oh, gained 4 times. But then the currency gained 4 times. Nope, I gained 16 times. And even if you started trading, say, back in here at 22.50, and you've got it to whatever level, well, it's better than double now. So if you've been able to increase your bankroll, say, 30%, oh, it's better than double, obviously. It's closer to triple now. And then it could even be better than that because maybe you're taking a lot of chances and they've worked out. Maybe your Bitcoin value since, say, you started in here, and it's went up like 4 times. Yet the price actions went up better than double. So it's went up like 10 times against the dollar using it on that kind of an example. But what I like about these movements in here, this reminds me a lot of poker, because you could go to your local casinos, play 30 hands or 25 hands an hour, and play not that much, but you're able to get yourself some income. And then all of a sudden, you go on the internet and you can play like 20 tables at one time and then get the amount of hands you would normally get in a day in less than an hour. So you get to increase your productivity as an investor, as a trader, as a gambler. It's almost the same sort of thing here with a lot of these codes. And the big example of me explain, or the best way of explaining it would be something like, okay, we're looking at a daily chart here, but I don't want to do that. I want to shorten this out. And this is the 1 hour time frame. So each one of these candles represents that of an hour. And if you were to look at this, say, in a comparison like a stock market, if a stock market in 1 year or such, or close to a year, would go from, say, 4,000 to 4,800, that's a good year. And it's a realistic year. This could very easily be the daily time frame of something in that nature. Each one of these representing one full calendar day, where in this case it represents one full calendar hour. So the amount of moves that normally occur in a day, you're getting it in 24 hours. The amount of volatile moves that you are getting in, say, a decade with some of the codes, you're getting in a couple of months, a few weeks even, which is why you're able to get the results that you could get in years in just a few months. That's my belief, and that's what I've been noticing in a little under 200 days of trading this so far. And it'll be interesting as this continues to move on now. So what makes this volatility reach to such major levels, even on Bitcoin, which is one of the more or less volatile codes out there? And the reason for that is, well, one, there's not as many participants, but the most important thing is there's a lot of people that will just buy and sell to whatever the market price happens to be, which means there's not as many people placing buy orders and sell orders and letting the buyers and sellers come to them. And when that's the case, when there's a lack of bidders and askers compared to buyers and sellers, then the large moves both up and down are only going to be amplified to larger degrees. And that has been the case. So there's no reason, I think, for it to significantly slow down within this type of volatility anytime soon. I think it's safe to say this major volatility is at least going to stay within these levels for a decent period of time. The buyers, of course, have been in control of this market. It's a free market. And there's going to be a nice extended period. So I'm going to finish talking about that as we finish it off around the 20-minute mark. And we'll use it on the weekly. And there's going to be some large pullbacks that will come into play. But like I said on the outset, I wouldn't be surprised if it does something maybe like this. And then you're going to be getting these wild pullbacks. But when you see the situation of people not liking the central bank system in the numbers which is coming into play as it is, it's floundering how this has been moving at this nature. And it does show to me as if this will be the chart historians will be using to signify the great fiat empire global collapse. Really, this will be an interesting chart. And to think that you're anywhere near a top when you see these small green candles, one of the big things I'm going to be looking for peaks are the bigger size green candles like this. But when it comes down to it, you really try to overthink the market, but you start to do the best that you can. As I was stating before, when you slowly beat an area like this, you don't want, or break an area like that, you don't want to be a seller. It's now slowly getting the point in here where you would want to do it just to try to buy back. And then you're like, oh man, this thing's going to 10, 20, 30, 40,000. And you don't want to take that chance. And that's, of course, totally understandable as well. But for myself, just starting back in here, been able to ride this bull market up. It's been nice, and every so often you're going to take for me, I'm taking Bitcoin out, cashing it out here and there. Just keep on trying to buy codes low, sell them high, and just watch the Bitcoin numbers increase. That's basically what's been going on. And just keep the game going. I keep it very simple. Just as I state, I'll put buy orders and sell orders in, and just let my platform know or tell me when it's coming into play. I've also talked a little bit recently about the arbitrage, where you look to try to buy at the sell at the same time, because you can get easy guaranteed gains. And when you're able to do that, then I mean that becomes tedious. But I like guaranteed gains, knowing you're going to get say 4% on say $1,000 worth, or 10% of a Bitcoin, or whatever number you want to use, and you know it's guaranteed. I like doing that instead of, oh, I think I can go long on here and hope to get that because it's probable. And usually you do. I mean, I still kind of do that, but a lot of it is just, again, betting really simple with these charts. So if this was just a one that all I was doing was just buying and selling this, and let's just assume you start back, say you wanted to start buying, say in here, you bought in here, you bought a bunch in here, so you put a few sell orders in, and everything that you sold in here, you bought back. Every little bit of intraday, intra-week, intra-month moves you were able to do. Like maybe you bought some here, you sold some here. All the little bits were coming into gains, and then you had a whole bunch of Bitcoins in here because you kept buying. When markets go down, your token sizes go higher. When markets go up, they go lower because you're going to have a sell order in here. Now, a lot of these sell orders you might be able to buy, but you're going to get to the situation where you're going to say put a sell order in here and then your buy orders here. That doesn't get bought back. Maybe you put a sell order in here and a buy order back in here. So you could have a situation where you have, say, 100 units here, and you keep buying on the way up, selling on the way down, and you'll get some of the moves lower. But next thing you know, your unit size goes lower. You'll have 90, 80, 70, 60, where you could very easily sell out at some point. So that's why when I look at least within the alternate coins, at what point can I safely sell out? Like with Dash, for example, it's got a number on a quarter that I know, 225. Well, that's where I want to generally get out. Does the market have a major break above a key resistance point? That's when I want out. All right, then. So I hope that helps a little bit, and have yourself a great night. Bye-bye.